Hello and welcome to Business Amplified with your host, myself, Kevin A. Dunlap. And I want to talk with you today about you becoming an expert in your field. There are certain things that you can do where other people will see you as the expert, especially if you're a startup just starting out or you've just been in business for a couple of years and you really, really want to enhance your professionality as well as what people are going to be seeing of you and thinking of you. There's certain things that you can do that will actually help you become the expert in your field and in your space. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of those. Whenever you're the expert, people are going to say they're going to associate you with your business with what solutions that you provide. And there's five different ways that I'm going to be talking to you today about how you can increase that level of expertise. Now, these are things that are not going to occur overnight. I will say this. Most of these will require a bit of time. This could be several months, it could be a year, it could be more than a year. This is not a fly by night process. This is something that you're going to have to be working on and working on continuously. Now, all of these things that I'm going to be sharing with you, I have done myself, and I'm going to be part of this whole business amplified podcast is to bring other people that are going to be talking about probably one of these five different areas, as well as other ways of how you can become a better and stronger professional in your field. Now, if this is something that you like, go ahead and subscribe to this show. I know this is our first episode, but go ahead and subscribe to this show and listen to our future episodes where we're going to have guests from all walks of life and possibly even all over the world. Just to tell you a little bit about me, my name is Kevin Dunlap. I've been in business as a self-employed person since 2004, where I launched my first business that was on a large level. And that was going through as a real estate consultant, and then eventually became a realtor when I was living in Las Vegas, Nevada. And what I ended up doing, I realized this was in 2009 that my face is part of my brand, and your face is going to be part of your brand, especially if you're a solopreneur or a bipreneur, which means somebody that has a partner that you're trying to build a business together. Now, your face will always be part of your brand. You will have your colors, you will have your website, you will have your other things as well, but your face is going to be part of your brand. And this is something that I realized starting in 2009. In 2009, I was running a lease option real estate consultation business where I was connecting landlord owners with tenant buyers to move into a house. And in October 2009, I started shooting video of all the houses that I was marketing. And you'd be surprised how many people are actually out there. They're watching your videos, they're watching your content, whatever way that you're showing that you're the expert. They're watching that stuff. And then when they meet up with you, they already feel connected with you. They want to do business with you. They already trust you. Now, from your perspective, you've never even heard of this. You don't even know who that person is. And that's perfectly okay because you've got that instant rapport. And when you have that rapport, then you can actually, you're going to be able to do better business with those people. Now, that's actually going to be a sixth way of doing business. I just thought about that. But however, let's go ahead and start about the five different areas that, or now six different areas that you can start doing. Hopefully, starting the process tomorrow or even today. And just remember, this will take time. This is not an overnight quick, get rich quick scheme or get rich quick business. This is something that's going to require consistency and time. So let's go ahead and talk about the very first thing. That is going to be like what I'm doing right here, is having your own podcast, having your own platform. Now, when you're talking about a podcast, this could be also having your own YouTube channel. And your podcast could actually even be on your YouTube channel. You may record a podcast and put it up as an audio only file, which is going to be on Spotify or iTunes or all the other platforms. But then you may have the YouTube version as well so that people get to see your face. And you want to make sure that this is something that's going to be searchable. Now, whenever you are having your own podcast, this is how you're going to start building your brand. Now, one of the things that I realized, because back in 2016, I started my first podcast called Life's Little Lessons. And that was to promote my second book. This was just me talking into the camera like I'm doing right now. And I had my second book, which was called Designing Your Own Destiny. And my podcast was going to be excerpts from that book. I was going to talk about different topics in that book. And at the very beginning, I was pretty consistent. I was getting, shows out there on a weekly basis, but then that eventually became on a monthly basis, and then once every 2 months, and then became very inconsistent. So that podcast actually failed in 2016. In 2017, I was like, I really like the show's name again, which was called Life's Little Lessons. But I wanted to actually, how can I bring in more content without me having to constantly trying to struggle as to what's going to come up next? And then I remember I was out on a hike one day, and I thought, hey, well, how can I bring more content on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, depending on how frequent your show's going to be coming out? But let's assume it's going to be weekly. How can I make sure I don't have to worry about always bringing in content? And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I could have guests on my show. The guest is the one bringing in the content, and all I have to do is basically ask the same questions to each guest, and then whatever content that they're bringing, they are going to be bringing it in. So therefore, at that time, the challenge can be, how do I find guests? And at that time, my first 8 or 9 or 10 episodes were just friends of mine, friends that I knew that were other entrepreneurs. And that led to them bringing in people that they knew, me posting things on LinkedIn. And this was before all the podcasting websites out there that would help you with guests, or actually at that time, they were not mainstream or they didn't even exist. With today's technology, with things like matchmaker.fm or podcast.com or podmatch.com or any of those other websites out there, those can help you find guests if you're going to be doing your own show. Now, the thing is, by having your own show, there are people going to be tuning in because of the content that you're going to be creating, or the niche that you're going to be in, or the space that you're going to be the influencer. After you start having more and more shows and you're posting this on your Instagram account, your Facebook account, maybe on your Alignable account or your LinkedIn, people are going to start knowing who you are. And also make sure that your show is going to be something that's going to be interesting and captivating for the audience to want to listen to. So they learn whatever niche that it is that you're doing. After some time, after maybe 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, you're going to start becoming mainstream. Back when I started shooting video of my houses, at one point in time, and this was probably starting in 2011 or 2012, like a year and a half later, I started, because I was using keywords in my show description on YouTube, I started ranking high in SEO for certain keywords. At that time, if you typed in lease option Las Vegas, which is the keywords I was using at that time, I would actually appear on Google at least 4 times on page one, sometimes 5 times, and usually 2 or 3 of those were my actual YouTube videos. So you want to make sure that you are becoming that expert by constantly giving content, constantly going out there showing yourself, as well as making sure that your website is professional. Make sure you have a lot of links going to your website. This will show activity. This will help the Google spiders to say, hey, this person is relevant. So when people start typing in your keywords and your face starts showing up, then you're going to be seen as that relevant expert. This is how you build your brand. If you're not interested in doing a podcast, the next things you may want to consider is maybe becoming a public speaker. Now, when you're a public speaker, every time that you are having a talk, you're going to have something known as a call to action. So therefore, you need to be thinking about what action do you, whenever you're giving a talk, that you want that person that's listening to you to take. This could be booking an appointment with you. This could be buying a program from you. This could be scheduling a time to do a one-on-one. Or this could be any of a number of different things. Even if you can't sell from stage, maybe your call to action is, hey, leave me your business card and I will contact you to schedule an appointment at a later time. Whatever it may be. So whenever you're becoming a public speaker, the public speakers are usually one of the highest paid people in the world. They rank right up there with salespeople. I mean, just think about it. Let's say if a retired a quarterback that plays for some football team, and somebody wants to have that person come in to speak to their, let's say, their sales staff, maybe that public speaker is going to charge $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to come and give that talk, because that person is going to be an influencer. By becoming a public speaker is probably one of the best ways for you to actually start growing your brand, growing your business. Because let's think about this. If you have a process that you take somebody through, and then you have them say, hey, do you want to buy or not? Or do you want to schedule an appointment or not? Imagine you're doing this all one-on-one. But what would happen if you're doing one on 20 or one on 50, one on 100, one on 200, one on 1,000? Do you see how becoming a public speaker would be one of the biggest and fastest ways of growing your business? Now, when you're becoming a public speaker, you need to have at least one, two, or possibly even three different main talks. In the industry, it's called a signature talk. So this is one of the things that we're going to be talking about on this show: is how do you create your own signature talk? There are many steps, or there are steps that are part of every signature talk for any successful public speaker. It's going to be getting on stage. Do you telling your transformational story? This could be, well, the topics that you're going to be talking about. How do you actually arrange each topic that you're going to be talking about? What is the beginning, the middle, and the end? How do you transition from the first topic to the second topic? These are all very important skills that you're going to be needed to learn, and these are things that we're going to be training about on this podcast, as well as what we do as our company, our sponsor, who is Optimal Performance Academy. Things that they do to help you become a better public speaker. The third thing that we're going to be talking about is you conducting your own webinars and workshops. A workshop is going to be where you get a group of people together for 2 hours, a full day, maybe a full weekend, where you're going to be working, where they'll be working with you. It's going to be interactive. If you're online, you may have breakout rooms. If you're in person, you may have people get into different groups. So how do you create that workshop, and how does each segment of that workshop, regardless if it's a 2 hour event or a 3 day event, how do you do each section of that workshop? Now, one of the ways you promote your workshop is going to be through what is called a webinar. They used to be called teleseminars, but however, with today's technology, it's no longer just on the phone. It's going to be usually through like a Zoom or a Microsoft Team Meets, or something like that. So how do you conduct your webinar? What is the structure of your webinar? A webinar is going to be very similar to a signature talk. However, a webinar is going to usually be online. It's going to be a virtual event. Now, this virtual event could be a PowerPoint styled presentation, or it could be you speaking to the camera. So we're going to be talking about how do you create your own webinars, and what is that structure of that webinar. The fourth way that you can actually start raising your level of expertise is to become a published author. Regardless if you're self-published or you go through a publisher, is to becoming an author. Now, I want to say something to you. Whenever I talk about this subject, I always say this one thing. Did you realize that the word author is derived from the word authority? By becoming an author and assuming you have good content in your book, you become the automatic authority on that topic. Let me say this to you. When I wrote my first book was called Lease Options Made Easy. Now, this was because I was doing a lot of lease option real estate. And at that time, and when I was living in Las Vegas, there was one or two other people that were doing something very similar to what I was doing. Now, by me becoming an author, if you knew nothing else about us, you got me and the second person. Who are you going to trust more? We both are doing the exact same thing, but you're speaking to me, and I am a published author. You may say, most likely you're going to choose the person that's the author because they've already written a book about it. That makes them the authority. The same is true to you in your space. You becoming an author is one way to become that expert. You can do anything you want with that book. You could sell that book. Maybe you give it to an influencer where you can give a public a talk on that subject or some subtopic of your book. And this is a great way to become that scene expert. You can You use it in all of your advertising. He said, well, hey, here's Kevin Dunlap, author of Lease Options Made Easy. Here he's going to talk to us today a little bit about lease option real estate. Come and see this event. So having that book is a great way for you to become that expert. And the fifth way that I want to talk about is becoming a content creator. A content creator is somebody who maybe creates programs, online programs, maybe virtual programs, maybe in-person programs. You're creating your blogs or your video blogs, which are known as vlogs. Go out there and constantly creating new content. Now, in today's technology, we have this thing called artificial intelligence, or other people just call it AI. With AI, this is a great source that you can do to help you create your content. Maybe outline your book, maybe give you the initial talks or speaking points on your public speaking, or how are you going to craft this next episode on your podcast or YouTube channel. So using AI is going to be extremely beneficial to you. Back in the day when I was just getting started in this in 2009 to 2012, we did not have that kind of AI technology. Now you have it. And I'm going to say is you need to start learning how to use the AI in your business. I mean, I find out now that as I'm growing my business, I'm starting to use AI on a daily basis, if not multiple times per day. It makes my job so much easier. So another thing that you're going to be needing to learn how to do is how do you use AI or how do you incorporate AI into your business? So those are the five things that I wanted that this show is going to be about. It's going to be you creating your brand, which is your face, using your creating a podcast and YouTube channel, becoming a public speaker, maybe starting to do a lot of webinars and workshops, becoming a published author, as well as becoming a content creator. Those are the things that you're going to be needing. So I look forward to working with you guys. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Start listening to some of our guests that are going to be coming up very, very soon. And I look forward to working with you guys in the future. And until next time, guys, be amazing.